everybody. My name is Graham. Watching. Boom. The police rising up underneath Wayne Manor and the outskirts of God. Comes the truth. We have been talking about the Epstein and Maxwell case for over 2 years now. An Epstein playlist on YouTube. I highly recommend you watch it because some of the stuff we've predicted. I think this trial, the Maxwell trial, odd that it took a year. They kept postponing it. I just had a conversation with Whitney Webb, who we're going to get back on the show. She's just dealing with some schedule stuff. So we're going to get her on the show to talk about this. But it really seems like the Maxwell trial, because I'm like, what are they going to do? They can't kill her like they did Epstein. Epstein, we know, is middle management. Maria Farmer said that in her interview with Whitney Webb last year. So Epstein was expendable. Ghislaine Maxwell is way more powerful than that. The Maxwell family has ties to Mossad and the intelligence community. And more than likely, she has a bunch of, evidence showing all these people having sex with children. And she's like, if I go down, you go down. So my thinking is, having kind of watched how this trial is starting to play, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a show trial. And she's going to get off or get some slap on the wrist. And they're going to go, well, we prosecuted, we put it, she got her day in court because of this crap. Listen to this. Photos of Jeffrey Epstein's NYC mansion from 2019 FBI raid are inadmissible in a Maxwell trial. The judge rules. Inadmissible. So you remember, and this is the thing I've been asking for 2 years. Remember when Epstein was arrested in July of 2019? It was like, you saw those photos and videos of the FBI guys wheeling out all these files and all this stuff, right? And there's a lot of photos there. There was also a book of CDs that had people's names on it. That's all been inadmissible. Those names have been redacted. This is insane to me. So FBI photos from Jeffrey Epstein's New York City mansion are being kept out of Ghislaine Maxwell's trial in what is being called a setback for prosecutors. Setback? No, that's your smoking gun. That's literally like, we have the murder weapon, but I don't know. You mean the murder weapon that has fingerprints on it? And there's a ballistics report. Well, it's not admissible. So it's a show trial. So we know this, the most powerful people in the world that Maxwell is a part of. I mean, I'm going to do more videos on this, but she has, she was blessed by the Pope. Her and Epstein were brought into Bill Clinton's White House in the 90s. We know this about her father being a Mossad agent. I showed you, go watch the interview with John Kiriakou. I mean, one of the things Kiriakou said is in the interview I did with him 2 years ago. John Kiriakou is an ex-CIA. He's a CIA whistleblower. And he said that the CIA doesn't have a policy of you can go get children for pedophiles. But if you have an asset, you're a CIA and you're trying to get somebody or get information from them or compromise them to use them to your advantage, and you have to get kids for that person, the CIA is not going to say no. So we know this is more of an intelligence operation, this trial. It's a show trial. I mean, it really is a show trial. And they're going to say, oh, well, she had her day in court and, the prosecutors, they dropped the ball. We still can't see Ghislaine Maxwell. We see her sisters walk into court. We see videos of some of her victims walking into court. We cannot see Ghislaine Maxwell. So assuming she's there, but she gets special treatment. Cameras inside the Rittenhouse trial, that was covered 6 waves from Sunday. But this, After the rulings, Maxwell appeared elated at the end of the court for a day. She was smiling with her arm around her attorneys, Bobby Sternheim, according to the Miami Herald. Just so we know, Bobby Sternheim is one of these lawyers that has been hired on numerous occasions to defend usually rapists and pedophiles, and claiming that the witnesses, the victims, are always like, oh, repressed memories aren't a thing. That the Catholic Church uses that same ruling. If you watch that documentary, The Keepers, on Netflix about a Catholic Church, they hire lawyers to do that. It's despicable. But let's talk about this judge. When Judge Allison Nathan allowed two similar photos from Epstein's Palm Beach mansion into evidence, she didn't allow the New York City photos in question to be used. Huh. Weird. So this Judge Allison Nathan, we're going to get into her in a second because she said some interesting things online. Weird. I mean, it's not like the ruling elites can choose the judges, right? It's not like they control everything. Epstein and Maxwell, and I've shown you all the photos, the flight records. I'll show them to you again at the end of this video, but you know this. They have ties to Trump, the Clintons, Prince Andrew. These are the most powerful people in the world. Les Wexner, who's not mentioned this at all, and Maria Farmer said he was the head of the North American snake. All these billionaires, several royal families. So you don't think they have the ability to go, let's get this judge in there? And you get a couple favorable rulings like this. Oh. Nathan said prosecutor didn't reason as to how photos from 2019 were relevant to a crime that took place 25 years ago. She also said prosecutors didn't explain what they had to do with Maxwell. So this says two things. One, what are the prosecutors doing? And why would photos? So Ghislaine Maxwell is on trial for sex trafficking, right? Several of the victims said she participated in the sexual assault. That charge was never brought in. Never. She's a rapist and a pedophile, Ghislaine Maxwell. The media will not say that. They will not call her that. So what are we in this just ridiculous, old school, puritanical, patriarchal that women can't rape? If a grown woman has sex with a 14-year-old child, that's not rape. So you only if you got a dick. Oh, okay. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. They couldn't explain it. What do the photos have to do with anything? They're evidence. There's photos of Maxwell and Epstein with, naked girls. There's videos. There's all this shit in there. Oh, it didn't count. So who's this judge? This was posted by Maria Farmer, who I follow online. I'm trying to set up an interview with her. And this is what Maria Farmer put it, but also she retweeted this from Larry Johnson too. So artistic whistleblower is Maria Farmer's Twitter. Maxwell will get off because she has dirt / is covering for too many world elites. This is the other thing too. Epstein, as we know, was middle management, so he was expendable. Maxwell, she has said, if something happens to me, all this, she's got videos and whatever else, all this damning evidence. That's what they do. That's part of this intelligence operation. This is as old as time, but we know the CIA is involved in this because Acosta was told in Epstein's trial in West Palm Beach, Florida in 2009, Acosta, the prosecutor, was told Epstein was an intelligence, a CIA asset, and to back off. That's why one of the reasons Epstein got that sweetheart deal in 2009 or 10, whenever the actual trial ended, right? So we know this. William Acosta said that, who was then appointed by Trump. Okay. Judge Allison Nathan is presiding over the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. She is a member of Skull and Bones' sister secret society, Quill and Dagger. Diversity. Look, it's a woman judge. She was John Kerry's associate national counsel in 2004. John Kerry was in the Skull and Bones. She was a special assistant of White House counsel to Barack Obama from 2008-2010 and appointed to the federal bench by Obama. She was appointed to the appeals court this year by Joe Biden. Weird. And this is what Whitney Webb put on there. The judge in Maxwell trial thinks Dershowitz is a luminary. Unreal. So this is artistic whistleblower. This is Maria Farmer. I reached out to Judge Allison Nathan, who presided over the trial. She had warm words for both lawyers. It was a treat for me to get to see these two luminaries in action. I particularly enjoyed all the playful trash talking that occurred in and outside of the purview of the jury. Their level of preparation was substantial, and it was evident that they were really got into character. Truly, they were both outstanding lawyer scholars, both of the legal and Talmudic variety, and thespians. So it means they're good actors. This is Allison Nathan talking about Alan Dershowitz, who's been listed. We know he Virginia Roberts Giuffre listed Dershowitz as one of her abusers. Like Dershowitz is part of this. So see how this is all connected? You see how the ruling elites work? Remember I told you Maria Farmer, when she came forward in the 90s, she said the FBI was almost worse to her than Maxwell and Epstein, right? And who was the head of the FBI in? Was Free, F-R-E-E-H is the guy, who was appointed by Bill Clinton, who was on Epstein's plane 26 times. Hillary was on twice. Bill and Hillary were at Epstein's compound numerous times in New Mexico. Judge Free was also appointed by Penn State University in 2011 and 12 to investigate the Sandusky Penn State pedophile case, to which he gave this report showing how bad it was. And it was but sealed it off. Joe Paterno, who died during that time, he was the bad guy. But they never showed, they probably were getting kids for alumni and all this other stuff. So Judge Free is a part of this. Part of the thing we know is they really want to seal these things off. They don't want they don't want every American, every person in the world to know the world is run by billionaire pedophiles. The CIA has pedophiles in it. They go get kids. This is, you think this is the Republicans versus the Democrats? Even QAnon, which is a psyop to keep people divided, to think that Trump was the hero who was going to rescue kids from these pedophiles. He's a part of this. So I know it sounds like I'm going off on tangents, but I got to show you, this is the whole, who's running the whole planet, right? And this is what they do, is they really want to seal it off. Oh, isolated incident. Just like, remember the Catholic Church is like a few bad apples with the pedophile priests. No. We know the Vatican on down knew about them, covered up for them, never prosecuted them, moved them around so they could abuse other kids, never held anyone accountable, never got fired, never got prosecuted, nothing. They want to make it seem like a few bad apples. Just like we don't have a systemic problem with our police in this country. It's a few bad apples, just a few bad apples, right? So this is what they want to see, and they're going to make this trial a show trial. Well, it already is. And Maxwell's going to get off or get a slap on the wrist and say well, they couldn't have enough evidence and this and that. So the judge was handpicked to cover this case. The judge thinks Dershowitz is fantastic. But who are the prosecutors? Are the prosecutors dropping the ball? How can the prosecutors just not argue good enough to let these photos get in? How do you lose the most crucial piece of evidence to your case if you're a prosecutor? I'm not a lawyer, but I mean, Christ, I would just assume, just basic watching, Law and Order shows, Law and Order specifically, or any sort of court drama, and knowing some lawyers, wouldn't you want the most damning evidence? Wouldn't you fight tooth and nail to keep that? So who are the prosecutors? Who is Maureen Comey? James Comey's daughter is the lead prosecutor in the Maxwell trial. This was in Newsweek. Oh, Comey, he's so great. He's trustworthy. James Comey's daughter. So she's kind of picked by the FBI? This is who's handling the case. So it's so clear that the ruling elites are staging this sham trial, and they're going to say, well, hey, justice was served. Just like Rittenhouse. Hey, the kid's not a racist. Justice was served. The law states you can do this. You can do that. Couldn't even get Rittenhouse convicted on reckless endangerment for bringing a gun to a thing, right? We're not here to talk about the Rittenhouse trial, but I'm just showing you this is we had a trial. If it's a flim-flam trial, how is it real? This is a Whitney Webb article. Former spy details Israel's main motive behind Epstein's sexual blackmail operation. This was Whitney Webb's article. Mint Press speaks with Ben Menashe, a former Israeli spy who worked closely with Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell's father, as part of their work with Israeli militaries, and had frequent encounters with Jeffrey Epstein. So again, we've talked about this numerous times. This is what Epstein would do. He would get powerful people coming to his house for some event. And we've heard these victims this last week in the trial say they were told by Ghislaine Maxwell to dress up in little schoolgirl maid outfits, underage, like children, I'm trying to not use the term underage girls anymore because it sounds like, oh, overage girls are okay. No girls are okay. So these were children. And they'd say, hey, powerful guy at the Jeffrey Epstein. A butler would come up. Epstein would never say it. A butler would come up and go, dude, would you like a massage from a beautiful woman? Ah, sure. Why not? I've heard about these Epstein parties. The girl would, give a massage and perform sex acts. They'd videotape it and say, well, now we've got you on camera, fill in the blank powerful person, Alan Dershowitz, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, so we're going to need you to play ball. I showed you this again. This isn't my Epstein playlist. One of the things I showed you how Epstein's hedge fund was fake. There was nothing traded. There was no, if you dig into that, it wasn't a real hedge fund. It wasn't investment. It wasn't doing mutual fund, anything like that. It wasn't doing any stocks. So, hey, powerful rich guy that we now have on tape having sex with a child, you're going to invest in Epstein's, because how was Epstein able to fund his lifestyle? He had this fake hedge fund, which was like, you need to give me $20 million or this video makes it to the public eye of you having sex with a child. So now they got this, people. They've got these. That's why Dershowitz is like so adamant. No, I would never, because they got him. They got him and he knows it. So they all know it. And here's, Ghislaine Maxwell was bent, and this trial is uncovering, but also people like Whitney Weber uncovering that, this just reeks of the intelligence community. I mean, we know that through Elizabeth Lee Voss. We've had her on numerous times to talk about the Founders Cult. Now, the Founders Cult has no ties to Epstein, but the intelligence pattern was very similar, right? And here's, Ghislaine Maxwell. Oh, she's so giggling. This is with Jean-Luc Bernay, he's been arrested pedophile in the fashion industry. It's always the fashion industry, the hedge fund, and the intelligence communities. Pay close attention to those. Again, watch the interview I did with John Kiriakou, who he said when Epstein died in prison, he said, this has to be the Israelis. He thought this was the work as the Israelis. So if Epstein is becoming a liability, like a middle management guy, it's like the mob. Some guy keeps getting busted. They're worried he's going to talk. They'd always whack him. Right? So again, this was taken on Epstein's pedophile island. Now here's Ghislaine Maxwell and Trump numerous times, right? Trump, Ivanka, Epstein. Remember when she got arrested? He goes, I wish her well. Here's Ghislaine Maxwell at Bill Clinton. That's Chelsea Clinton. There's former President Bill Clinton. There's Ghislaine Maxwell. This is in 2011. And we're supposed to believe the Clintons had no idea who she was at that point. I'm just showing you all of this. Big stage now, big theatrics. Hey, he had ties, this Bloomer had ties to Epstein. We know he's a pedophile fuck. These two are creep fucks. You think your party's better than the other party? They're all creep fucks. And you're trying to tell me Hillary didn't know? Bullshit. This is the Epstein crime map. This thing it was made by Ryan Dawson, and it's just like, it's unreal. Jean-Luc Bernay, MC2 modeling, which has modeling in New York City, Miami, and Tel Aviv. Alexander Acosta, Donald Trump, Jared Kushner, Charles Kushner. I mean, look at how. I mean, Jennifer Gaffney was assistant DA at New York City. Graydon Carter, Vicky Ward. Vicky Ward, we've talked about her before. She did some articles and reporting, and it seemed like, oh boy, she's trying to uncover the Epstein thing. But she actually, we know, has longtime friendships with Ghislaine Maxwell. So she's like a shill. She's put in there to look like she's trying to uncover the Epstein thing. But in essence, she's going easy and really making it hard in subtle ways on victims. We know this from Maria Farmer as well. I mean, Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell, ties to Mossad, Harvey Weinstein, the Nixon cult, which did sex trafficking and pedophilia. I mean, you see how this is all tied in? Les Wexner, the Wexner Foundation. Bear Stearns. Oh, Bill Cosby was a neighbor to Epstein in New York. Who knew that? So I'm showing you this because this is obviously an intelligence operation with Mossad and the CIA. And I've shown you this before numerous times. This is the propaganda multiplier. So the White House, the CIA, and the Pentagon feed information to the global news agencies, AP, AFP, and Reuters, and then this filters down. You see, they're all the same. Fox, CNN, MSNBC, NPR. You think they're all different. They're all fed the same crap. And then this is fed to the people. So this is what's happening with this trial. So they're talking, and even the corporate media is talking about the Maxwell trial. Oh, but they're not covering it. There's no cameras in there. Oh, it's a federal thing, so they don't have cameras in there. Okay, I have never ever seen a celebrity trial at any level where there's no mugshot, there's no perp walk. She gets a private entrance. Ghislaine Maxwell gets a private entrance in. I know she's in custody, and her sisters are like going to the UN to say she's being mistreated. That's how much power these people have. She's going to the UN. Her sisters are pieces of shit. This judge is a piece of shit. Like, they're all fucking pieces of shit. And then they put in Comey's daughter to be like a deliberate bad lawyer. It's like in the movie Sleepers when they hired Dustin Hoffman, the alcoholic, to right? To defend the guys, and it's all orchestrated by Brad Pitt's character. Anyway, I'm doing the movie reference, but this is all orchestrated. This is the ruling elites and unfortunately, it looks like Ghislaine Maxwell is going to get off. I hope I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong, and she spends the rest of her life in prison. But the ruling elites, because if she goes to jail, she's got a kill switch or something like that on some stuff. And she's like, I'm sure she has made it abundantly clear. If anything happens to me, this all goes public. Because she's mean, awful, mean as a sake. She's a rapist. She's a pedophile. She's a sex trafficker. She's a piece of shit. She's a monster, and she needs to spend the rest of her life in jail. And all of her friends, they all need to go rot in fucking hell as well. But the ruling elites rule the world, right? They run the world. The pedophiles rule the world. And the vote any blue will do crowd. Yay, we got Trump out of there. For Joe Biden, who also has ties to Epstein. Joe Biden just has signed more oil and drilling and fracking and pipeline permits than Trump did. That's a separate video. But we're going to stay on the story. I'm going to have Maria Farmer on the show. We're going to have Whitney Webb on the show. Where this trial will probably go on another, at least, 3 to 4 weeks, another month, maybe longer. And it's sad that we're going in the direction that she might get acquitted. Ghislaine Maxwell might get acquitted. Again, I hope I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong. I would gladly do a video saying I was wrong. But I don't see it happening because the way it's all stacking up. So, and when like Maria Farmer and other Epstein victims are like Maria Farmer's sister who was trafficked. Yeah. I want justice for the victims, and I want these monsters off the streets, but the monsters rule the world. And they're just power-hungry sociopaths that will do anything for power. And they use sexual blackmail and don't care about raping kids or anything. They don't give a shit, traffic children. So this is who really runs the world. And no real justice will come when these evil people are running the world. So, hey, everybody, thanks for watching. We are still in our 9th month of demonetization from YouTube. So support what we're doing at patreon.com/Graham Elwood or rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, which is a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. It's free to sign up, and there's a premium level at $10 a month. And for that, you get everybody on the platform's premium content. Myself, Lee Camp, Ron Placone, Jimmy Dore, Whitney Webb, Kim Iverson, Abby Martin, and many, many others. You can also support what we're doing at Venmo at Graham-Elwood. and go to grahamelwood.com. We have a PayPal button and a PO box. I also have crypto wallets, which are all in the show notes. Thanks for supporting what we do.